Responding to diversity by engaging with students' voices, a strategy for teacher development. Throughout Europe, teachers are faced with increasingly diverse groups of students. This program introduces a set of materials that help teachers to respond to this challenge. The materials were developed as a result of action research carried out in schools in 3 countries: England, Portugal, and Spain. The project took place in 8 secondary schools in the cities of Hull, Lisbon, Madrid, and Manchester. Teachers, students, and support staff in these schools collaborated with teams from local universities to address the question: how can teachers develop more inclusive practices by engaging with the views of students? In doing so, they also explored the complexities associated with addressing this agenda during the busy day of schools. These experiences led to a strategy for guiding teacher development activities in schools. The strategy involves 4 processes: engaging with students' views, talking about diversity, developing inclusive practices, and learning from experiences. As we see, the 4 processes interact. So, for example, talking about diversity is something that occurs whilst developing inclusive practices and learning from experiences. In this context, the different views of those involved act as a stimulus for reflection and experimentation. The most important feature of the strategy is the engagement with the views of students, an idea that should permeate all the processes involved.
I think we should go and ask the students what way they like to learn.
Para além de sermos nós a entrevistar, prepararmos também as entrevistas e depois tratarmos a informação e perceber em que é que os alunos gostavam mais e menos nas salas de aula, em que é que os professores podiam contribuir para que eles aprendessem melhor.
The research carried out in the 8 schools suggests that it is this factor, more than anything else, that makes the difference as far as responding to learner diversity is concerned.
It makes us feel like teachers actually care about our opinions.
Y porque hay cosas que los profesores no se dan cuenta de nuestras opiniones y pues nosotros somos los que nos damos cuenta de eso.
Yo creo que también cuando a la hora de tomar decisiones de los profesores, pues si cuentan con nuestra opinión, las pueden modificar hacia lo que nos puede gustar más o lo que nos beneficia más a nosotros.
It is this that encourages teachers to go beyond the sharing of existing practices in order to invent new possibilities for engaging students in their lessons. Senior staff in the project schools talked enthusiastically about how the views of students had stimulated teachers to share their expertise. Students also recognized the benefits for their learning.
Me he sentido muy bien como una profesora. Ayudando a un compañero ha sido muy útil para mí y para él.
Ajudou-me muito a saber trabalhar com várias pessoas diferentes de mim, com gostos diferentes dos meus.
And most importantly, teachers themselves found that listening to the views of their students made them reflect about their own practices.
I think it kind of reminded me that there are ways of getting kind of all students involved, and it's obviously easier with certain classes rather than other classes, but what also it made me think of was that our children were very empathetic towards each other and had a really good understanding of each other and a really kind of perspective on each other when they were asked.
Through the use of the strategy, staff and students in the schools were encouraged to reflect on their understanding of what is meant by student diversity.
Acabámos por verificar que esta diversidade de alunos que temos tiveram o seu espaço neste projeto. enquanto comunidade educativa, sentiram-se valorizados.
The teacher development strategy incorporates elements that research suggests create powerful forms of professional development. It is located mainly in classrooms. It builds on the expertise available within the school. It involves teacher collaboration. It helps to develop a language of practice, and it uses evidence as a stimulus for reflection and experimentation.
Portanto, o facto deste projeto nos permitir avançar e depois na planificação revê-la e depois tornar novamente a refletir sobre aquilo que fizemos, permite-nos muito evoluir enquanto educadores e profissionais.
In order to use the strategy, small groups of teachers, usually trios, focus on the preparation of one lesson plan. Then, as each teacher uses the plan, their colleagues observe the responses of class members.
Foi muito importante a presença dos professores do trio na nossa aula, porque iam identificando os passos que deveriam ainda ser melhorados.
After each lesson, the teachers meet to share ideas as to how the lesson plan can be improved.
And from that we then met and had a planning meeting for the lesson, and that planning meeting was based on the feedback we'd had from the girls.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that told us.
They told us they wanted more interactive activities, more group work, more kinesthetic kind of style of learning.
The conclusion of the project was that this strategy for teaching development can stimulate improvements in practice.
But to do that, we're going to do an activity that means you get physical, you get moving, you get to work in teams. And I want to see how effectively you can actually work in teams to actually develop the quality of your French.
O aluno passa a ser construtor de aula, ou seja, forma motor com o professor.
Porque nós só temos o nosso ponto de vista, foi curioso perceber aquilo que os professores também sentem e também perceber aquele trabalho que está envolvido por detrás da preparação de uma aula.
A mudança cultural de considerar os estudantes colaboradores de atividade de ensino. Se eu participo no desenho, se eu participo na avaliação, tenho mais possibilidade de ser mais responsável do meu sucesso.
As a result of the research carried out in the 8 project schools, a set of professional materials has been developed. These include a guide for teachers and a series of accounts of practice illustrating the use of the strategy in schools in the 3 countries. It is hoped that through their use in new contexts, these materials will be further refined. Given the experience of this project, it is recommended that such use would be strengthened where schools work together within networks. In this way, it is possible to make available more people's ideas that will encourage learning from differences.
Did you enjoy the activity, girls?
Yeah!
Excellent.